I am, guys, for the first 35 years of my life or so, I was incredibly prejudiced towards a lot of people. I did not have empathy for other human beings that were not just like me. It was taught to me. I was brought up around it. I feel terrible about it. And I've been doing everything I can since I really, truly became aware of how awful I was to turn it around and be a better human being. So I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys understanding.
I repeatedly used the N-word to inflict pain on another person and sarcastically stated that I was a racist. I was wrong from not walking away from that volatile situation. I was wrong for responding in anger with hateful language. I was wrong for using a racist term that has caused great trauma in our country, county, and to my fellow neighbors in New York.
In all seriousness, if you still really, really are committed to being a racist, it's getting hard in the yard out here for y'all, because I've now made you aware of some things that you didn't know. And this is just a tiny tip of the iceberg of all the ways people of color have improved our lives in measurable and quantifiable ways. Our world would not be nearly as far along as it has without the inventions and contributions of all these Americans. So, again, I hope that this opens your eyes a little bit to how much white and black culture are actually intertwined in a good and great positive way. Have a great evening.
Grand rising kings and queens from Africa and across the ocean, I thank you so much for being here. And I thank you for your time. Now, I am going to talk about something that we never thought we would see in our lifetime. For example, I never thought this, what I'm going to talk about, I will see on my lifetime, where former racist people who once looked at black people in eyes with hate are now turning around and reaching out and saying, I'm sorry. And they are saying the reason why they were racist is because of this and this. And let me be clear. This is not a fairy tale. I have videos. I have proofs. I have videos here I'm going to play to you. And it's not some Hollywood feel-good moment where racism just magically disappears. No. This is real life. These apologies are coming after years. And in some cases, decades. Now, I have videos here I want to play for you because these apologies are not just about kindness. These are not just about waking up one morning and deciding to love black people. Many of these people, or some of these who are apologizing, is because the truth has hit them hard. They can no longer deny it. Some have been forced to look at themselves in the mirror and realize that the lies they were taught were exactly that. Others have been humbly or being humbled by life itself. For example, when black people warned you about not voting this, not doing this, and then you do it, and then it comes back to you, life humbles you, and you need to come forward and say, I am sorry on that. Now, they are apologizing because they see the rise of black people. That's what I think. And maybe they fear being left behind. You need to be on the table because black people are building the table, and everyone needs to have a cake on this table. Everyone needs to eat from this table. Let's watch these clips, and then we come back.
But I'll share some of my own experience. I'm a white male. I was raised in Mississippi. The center of our town was called the Tree. It was popular because the trees were in the middle of this town. They were very old trees, and there had been lynchings that had taken place in those trees. Black people were not allowed to move to this area. My parents moved to there for that reason. I was raised a racist. The elementary school I went to, my fourth grade teacher, who was also the assistant principal, used the N-word in class pretty much every day to describe black people. And then they start consolidating and so that's the way I was raised. So I'm gonna tell you, I was scared of black people, and the N-word was a regular part of my vocabulary up until basically I went to high school, and they consolidated the schools. They integrated them in Mississippi. And I'm not that old, right? I mean, I started high school in the 90s, and I get there, and now there are black people at this school, and we're supposed to be scared to death of it. But lo and behold, they're not scary. And then I joined the military, and of course I dropped out of high school, but I joined the military, and I become the minority. And now I'm in Bosnia living in a tent, and I'm pretty sure I was the only white guy in a 12-man tent. And in boot camp, it was 20% white people. I don't know. A lot of minorities join the military and serve this country with honor. And these are people that I put my life on the line with. So I'm going to call it an enlightenment between high school and the military of everything that I was taught as a child was just not true.
There had been some tweets of mine that I learned about yesterday back 10 to 12 years ago that had resurfaced. That's not who I am, who I was as a teenager. Just want to acknowledge and recognize that I am completely and utterly disgusted and ashamed and honestly embarrassed at how normal it was for me to speak that way on Twitter and to, I don't know, for my friends and I to address each other that way, or for me to sing along in rap songs, and that's nobody else's fault but mine.
I've been asked probably well over 1,000 times in the comments and messages why I chose to confront my own racism and my prejudice ideology. So I thought I'd just have an honest conversation with you and break it down over a few parts and let you see into the mind of someone like me, the way I grew up and the man I'm becoming. Now, here's the crazy thing. I've only ever known one racist in my life for sure, and that's me, because I can't speak into the hearts and minds of another human being and what they think and feel. That's not fair. That's prejudicial of me. So I'm the only one I've ever known. So I feel I can speak with authority about this. I'm not calling out other people who are. This is simply about my evolution and the things I confronted and some of the difficulties and some of the beautiful parts of this. This is not an easy thing for me to do. This is kind of laying my soul bare. Now, why is it I grew up with so much prejudice and bias and discrimination in my life? Well, I grew up in a small town in Arkansas, and I am Arkansas proud. Let me just say that right off the top. But I grew up with people who taught me these things, and it was instilled in me. I mean, it was just reinforced over and over. And then for the most part, I lived in an echo chamber of other people who thought the same thing. So I didn't know it was possible to think any other way. I was raised Christian. I cannot explain to you why my faith in God, my morality, and my racism took so long to cross paths. I can't explain it, but it probably took about 40 years to figure that out. There's a whole series of events in my life, I guess, ultimately that led up to this. And prison was probably one of the biggest catalysts, because when you're on 23-1 lockdown with someone of a different color from you in the same cell, you shut your mouth and you listen. You ask questions. And I had so many different cellmates from different countries, from different races and heritages. And it just really opened my mind. And sitting in prison, I had a lot of time to think. And I had some old timers tell me I need to do my time. Don't let my time do me. And those are good words of advice. But I started digging deep into myself and my flaws, and because I was probably the biggest asshole I knew at that time, and I wasn't proud of that at all. And I knew I needed to change if I wanted to live a productive and healthy life and just be somebody likable. I just couldn't see the world for the way it really was. And that breaks my heart that it took me so long to see it. But the beauty that is born from this change, Amir, this growth is just crazy. God is amazing. At one time, I very much was the enemy. So I think it's important that you can see sometimes into the mindset of somebody like I was, so maybe that we can better understand it going forward. And again, these are just my experiences, my opinions, and my thoughts. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that I had prejudice and bias and discrimination and bigotry inside me. I knew this. Understanding that it was wrong and accepting that my character was flawed was way more difficult. People see what they want to see. I'm absolutely guilty of that. I only sought out information that further proved
my ideology the way I thought, no matter how wrong it was. But I did this over and over, and it just further reinforced in my head that what I was reading and hearing was true. Accepting that you have a massive character flaw is not easy for anybody of any race or gender. It sucks, but you have to admit it. You have to confront that the way you think is harmful and hurtful, and it's not healthy, and it's not accurate of all things. So I realized the first step was admitting it. The second step was learning to forgive myself. White guilt and forgiveness. One of the most challenging things on this journey of trying to deconstruct my own racism is learning to forgive myself. That is a very difficult thing to do for most anybody, especially when it's a burden that you carry around so heavy that you don't know how to break it down. Again, these are my thoughts, my experiences, and my opinions only. And while I can't tell you how to learn to forgive yourself for something because it's different for everybody, it's absolutely crucial if you want to grow. I had to admit it to myself. I had to be accountable to myself. And then I had to put in the work. And that involves a lot of introspection, a lot of prayer. It's just something you can't take your foot off the gas of. You know what I mean? Forgiving myself doesn't absolve me of the things I've got to work out. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But until you forgive yourself, it's really hard to move forward. And the biggest thing I struggle with initially is what we call white guilt. And that looks different to probably everybody, because I was really concerned. I spent a lot of time thinking about it and praying about it, because if I did this out of some sort of guilt, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be sincere. And I realized and came to the conclusion, once I had forgiven myself, that I had thrown that yoke off me. Now I'm just free to love. I'm just free to grow and be open-minded and experience all these new things with an open and transparent heart. Racism is not a switch you can flip on and off. It doesn't work that way. It's a long process. It takes a lot of commitment.
If you're really committed to being a racist in this country, you can't unsee what I'm about to show you. You might want to start checking Amazons for blankets, because this gas furnace behind me, you don't get to have one of those either, because that was invented by a black woman named Alice Parker around 1920. She received a patent on it. Yeah, that's how we stay warm today. I mean, if you love potato chips, they gotta go, because a man named George Crumb, a chef in New York, had sent French fries out with a meal and a customer complained. So what did Mr. Crumb do? He sliced potatoes so thin, fried them up, dumped a bunch of salt on them, and sent them out. And that is the American delight of potato chips. They gotta go. Here in the bathroom, Lotta Newman patented the first hairbrush with synthetic bristles in 1898. And she's just the third Black American woman to ever receive a patent. Now, I know this isn't going to affect those skinheads very much.
Welcome back, family. Now, for centuries, racism has been an unshakable wall in the minds of many white people. That wall was built by brick by brick, through false history, through propaganda, a religion twisted to justify oppression, and entire systems designed to keep black people down. Why do you think some white people are coming out and talking about this and saying sorry and educating the other white people? Why are some of these same people finally breaking through that walls and coming to us with apologies? Personally, I think it's because the truth is spreading. And this truth is spreading faster than lies. The internet, people are traveling, the social media, global news, these things are tearing down the propaganda that once believed. When a white person from a small rural town in America can now see African cities like Nairobi, Accra, and Lagos shining with their skyscrapers, businesses, and innovations, the myth of Africa is poor, or Africans are poor, hopeless land, is starting to crumble. So when they see black doctors, when they see black engineers, when they see black scientists and black billionaires, the myth of black inferiority collapses. And that's why some are coming out and saying, wow, we never knew this. Now, you have heard the videos I've played to you. Each one has his or her own story why he has come around. Now, I think there's another reason. The white system itself is cracking. Economies in the West are struggling. Poverty is rising. White communities that once looked at black people with pity or contempt are now facing the very, very same struggle they thought it's only belonged to black people. Some people thought suffering is for black people only. And when you are struggling, when your children are hungry, you start to realize, wow, maybe the people you have been blaming all along are not the problem. So let's say this. In the last few years, African nation have been standing up in ways we haven't seen in. Countries rejecting unfair trade deals, leaders telling Europe and America no, telling them to go, that we will not do your dumping, will not be your dumping ground. Young Africans are protesting in the streets against corruption leaders who sell out their countries. And at the same time, in the diaspora, we are seeing black Americans have been pushing harder than even for justice. Whether it's fighting police brutality, building black-owned businesses and reclaiming stolen history, the world is watching in all angles. We are trying to do it in all angles, and the world is watching. Even the people who once hated us, black people, are watching. And some of them, they are inspired too. They are realizing that the strength, resilience, and creativity of black people is not just admirable, it is unstoppable. So this is shaking some former racists to their core, because for so long, their identity was built on the belief that they were superior. The identity of white systems was built that they are superior. But when the evidence is everywhere, in the internet, history itself, the evidence is everywhere that we as black people, we are rising, that we are innovating, that we are winning, and some have no choice but to question everything they believed. When they were told, your great-grandfathers, your ancestors discovered Mount this, Mount that, evidence is saying something different. When they say they are the one who are the greatest scientists, they brought civilization to Africa, evidence is out here stating otherwise. And the white kids, the Gen Zs, and the former racists who are now waking up are starting to question their own system. So, I want to share something. Some of the most powerful apologies I've seen didn't come from celebrities or politicians, like the one we have seen here. They came from ordinary people. People who once shouted slurs, now holding hands with the very people they once insulted. People who once crossed the street when they saw a black man, now stopping to say, I was wrong about you, I was wrong about all of you. I see people who are once holding placards saying that all life matters. They are saying, now I'm saying sorry. I was a former racist. When I was growing up, personally as a black man, as an African, I grew up knowing that we as black people, or me as an African and Kenyan child, am less human than my white counterparts in the US. We all believe that they are better than us. When we see the white kids playing there, we are like, we want to be like them, because it is something that was created inside us to believe that we as black people are inferiority, and this was pushed harder or was sponsored harder by racism. So, the story I read, one man grew up where racism was just normal. And his father told him black people are lazy, black people are dangerous and dumb. This white man believed it. And then he went to college, got paired with a black roommate. And that young man saved his life. Literally pulled him out of a burning car one night. And that was his wake-up call. That was his wake-up call. And he said he came open and realized everything he was taught about black people was a lie. And he had to make it right. I have heard stories where former racists are coming out saying they were saved by black people. They see black people are always right, blah, blah, blah. And they are deciding to change. Now, I'm telling you these stories so you feel warm inside. I'm telling you because they show how powerful truth and human connection can be. But we must also be wise, because not every apology is born out of true transformation. Some are born out of fear. Some are apologizing because of fear. not true. So we have something we call guilty and fear. And these are two main engines driving these apologies, guilty and fear. Guilty happens when a person finally sees the pain they have caused and it crushes them. Maybe they watch an old video of themselves yelling slurs and feel sick to their stomach. Maybe they read history and realize their family wealth was built on stolen and enslaved labor. And that guilt can be powerful enough to make someone apologize. But fear is different. Fear happens when they see that the tables are turning, when they see black people are winning, when they see black people are taking political seats, when they see black people are, the economic power is shifting from them maybe to some black people. So when they see black people gaining economic power or that political influences or cultural dominance that I've said, if they see the rise, okay, they don't treat us the same way they treated them. So some apologizes are really just assurance or insurance policies. It's a way of saying, hey, remember me when you get to the top. I'm sorry, remember me when you get to the top. I was nice to you. Please don't treat me like I treated you. Some are fear. And we, as a black family, we must be careful here. Because while guilty can lead to genuine change, fear often disappears the moment they feel safe again. So we need to be vigilant. And again, we have genuine apologies and performative apologies. How do we tell the difference between genuine apology and performative? A genuine apology comes with actions. If a former racist is truly sorry, they will not just say it. They will work to undo the damage. They will speak out against racism, even when it costs them friendship, their jobs, or comfort. Because when you are a racist and you come out and sometimes you may lose your job, or you may lose your friends who are the same like you. Genuine apologies, they will support policies that uplift black people communities. They will educate their children with the truth, not lies. But a performative apology, that's just words. It's public enough to look good, but private enough to change nothing. And unfortunately, we live in a time where performative apologies are everywhere in social media. We can't realize which is which. Some people are out holding their placards, making TikTok videos and saying these apologies. And both of them are performative. So, family, we must understand this. These apologies, genuine or not, these are signs of a shift in the world. It is signs that the world is turning back. It is a sign that black people are coming to power. These are, whether genuine or not genuine, these are proof that the lies are losing power. But they are not the end of the struggle. Just because someone says sorry doesn't mean that the system is fixed. No. Just because a person changes their mind doesn't mean the laws, the institution, the economic structures they oppress us have changed. No. We cannot build our liberation on apologies. We build it on unity, self-love, and power. To my kings and my queens, I say this. Accept genuine apologies if you wish, but never forget the fight is not over. Some of these apologies are truly, or some of my white friends are waking up. I told you I have white friends. I cannot lie to you. And they talk to me. I had one from German. He talked to me and say, I watch your video. And sometimes I sit down and I'm not happy of how my ancestors treated black people. You guys need to take back what belonged to you. And I'm like, I love that. But how are you going to help us do that? You need to wake up, create videos, educate your fellow people. Tell them this is not good. Tell them they lied. Tell them we are living on products of black people, on sweat and blood of black people. That is the way you can be helping. But apologies are apologies. And I love when I see white people coming out and saying sorry to this and this. And even if there is things black people have done to you, you need to come out and say sorry again. So I'll say this. We as black people need to have something we call self-love, because some of this racism came so loud because we did not have self-love. We loved white people more than we loved ourselves. And that's why I told you when I was growing up, I was thinking I'm less human and my white counterpart, they are more human. When white people came to our school to donate, we were jumping, celebrating, singing for them. I don't know if I can see a black man going to, not a celebrity, just a black random man going to donate in a school somewhere in New York City, a white school, and seeing white kids jumping down and up and celebrating. But they put something on our head to believe that they are more human than we are. And that's what we call, we were less human, okay? And this was backed up with this racism. We did not love ourselves as black people. We hated our skin as black people. Even some of us were trying to bleach our skin to look like white people so that we can get these equal thoughts or equal opportunities, okay? But right now, when I see the white people coming out and saying, we are sorry, you were right, you were like this, I'm so happy because I know, they know very well that black people are building their own table and very soon things gonna change, okay? Now, tell me what you think on the comments about this video. Until next episode, peace out.